I arrived at my son Liam's new house at 7 on the dot. The air in the massive foyer was thick with the smell of expensive lilies and the sharp, clean scent of bleach, like something beautiful was trying to cover up something sterile and cold. I was just about to call out for Liam when I heard it. A terrible, shuddering sob coming from the main living room. I walked in and froze. My son's wife, Chloe, was collapsing into the arms of a guest, her shoulders shaking. "He cheated on me," she cried, her voice just loud enough for everyone in the crowded room to hear. "Alex, my ex-husband. He told me he's with someone else." "He?" She buried her face in her hands. My son Liam rushed to her side, his own face a mask of pain. He wrapped his arms around her. "It's okay, Chloe. I'm here. I've got you." He was a good man, a kind man, and she was playing him like a violin. I knew it. I knew it because as Liam held her, Chloe's tear-streaked face lifted just enough to look past his shoulder. Her eyes, red from crying, locked directly onto mine. And she smirked. It was a tiny, cold, razor-sharp smile that was there for 1 second and gone the next. It was a look of pure victory. This was not grief. This was a performance. And I was her only audience member who knew the truth. Have you ever seen someone lie so easily it made your skin crawl? Tell me your story in the comments. Liam gently guided Chloe to the enormous, cream-colored sofa. She sank into it, arranging her designer dress perfectly even as she sobbed. She was the perfect picture of a beautiful, broken woman. Liam knelt beside her, holding her hand. His eyes filled with worry. "I just can't believe it," she whispered, dabbing her eyes with a silk handkerchief. "After everything I went through to escape him." Guests, Liam's friends and new business partners, began to circle her. "That poor thing," one woman murmured. "She's finally happy, and her past comes back to haunt her." Another man put a hand on Liam's shoulder. "Whatever you need, man. Just say the word." They were all eating from the palm of her hand. But I saw what Liam didn't. I saw her best friend, Sarah, standing by the fireplace, pretending to sip her wine. Sarah watched the entire scene, her expression carefully neutral. Then, when Chloe glanced her way, Sarah gave a tiny, almost invisible nod. It wasn't a nod of sympathy. It was a nod of approval. A silent, "well done." My heart, which should have been aching for my daughter-in-law, was breaking for my son. This wasn't just a lie. It was a script. And they had both rehearsed their parts. I had to try and reach my son. I waited for a moment when the cluster of guests moved toward the bar to get drinks. Liam was still kneeling, his back to me. I walked over and gently touched his shoulder. "Liam," I started, keeping my voice low and calm. "Are you holding up okay? This is a lot to take in." He started to turn, his face looking tired and confused. But before a single word could come out of his mouth, Chloe's hand shot out and gripped his arm. Her nails, perfectly manicured, dug slightly into his suit jacket. "Oh, Liam, darling," she gasped, her voice suddenly fragile like cracked glass. Could you please get me a glass of water? My throat is just so dry from all the crying." Liam was instantly pulled back, his focus snapping to her. "Of course, sweetheart. Anything. Just stay right here." He stood up and gave me a brief, distracted glance. His eyes were almost annoyed. "Mom, can we talk later? As you can see, Chloe really needs me right now." He walked away, leaving me standing alone by the sofa. She had done it again. She had built a wall, brick by brick, and painted me as the cold, unfeeling mother-in-law who was bothering her in her time of need. I retreated to the kitchen, needing a moment to breathe. That cold, sterile smell of bleach was even stronger in here. The catering staff was busy, but so was Sarah, Chloe's friend. She was on her phone, leaning against the marble island, her back to me. She was speaking just a little too loudly, as if she wanted to be overheard. "I know, it's just awful," she said, fake sympathy dripping from every word. "I'm just so proud of Chloe. She was so brave. Finally leaving Alex after what he did. He was always so controlling and she found the strength to get out. And now this. It's like he's trying to punish her for being happy. Leaving Alex. That phrase stuck in my mind. The story Chloe had always told was that Alex had left her. Now the story was changing. Now she was the brave one who had escaped. This wasn't just a random act of cruelty from an ex. This was a new narrative, carefully crafted and being tested tonight. I knew Chloe's history. I knew her past relationships were messy and always ended with her coming out on top, financially. This cheating husband story felt too neat, too convenient. It was a performance designed to get a specific reaction. Standing in that cold modern kitchen, my mind flashed back a year. Liam, my steady, practical, wonderful son, had been swept off his feet. He brought Chloe home and she was like a firework. Bright, loud, and beautiful. She charmed everyone. She had a story for everything. Her complicated family who lived overseas. Her boring job in finance that she'd left to find herself. I had asked gentle questions, trying to get a sense of who she really was, but her answers were always vague and slippery, like trying to hold water in my hands. Then came the rush to get married. "Why wait, darling? We're so in love," she had gushed. I had urged caution. "Liam, you've only known her for 6 months." He had pulled away from me. "Mom, you just don't want me to be happy," he'd said, his voice hurt. Now standing here I knew I had been right. This cheating ex was just another chapter in her book of lies. She was positioning herself as the victim, just as she had when she met Liam, complaining about her terrible old job. She needed sympathy. She needed to be seen as the wrong party. But why? She already had Liam. She had his name, his love, and his money. What was this new performance for? Few days passed. The drama of the dinner party had settled into a quiet, tense fog over the family. I called Liam, but his voice was distant, busy with taking care of Chloe. I knew I couldn't push. So I used an excuse. I had some of his old tax documents he'd been asking for. When I pulled up to their house, I was relieved to see Chloe's sleek black sports car was gone. I found Liam in his home office, looking pale and exhausted. He was staring at a small black USB drive on his desk. "Hey, Mom," he said, rubbing his temples. "Thanks for coming." He motioned to the drive. "It's the weirdest thing. Chloe's ex, Alex, sent a box of her old things to the house. This was in it." He looked deeply uncomfortable. "Chloe said it has proof of his cheating. Photos of him and the other woman she thinks. She wants me to open it. She says she's too hurt to look at it herself." My internal alarm bells were screaming. An abuser sends a box of old things, and just happens to include a USB drive with proof of his own infidelity. "She can't get it to open," Liam said, his voice flat. "It's encrypted. She asked me to try, but none of her usual passwords work." "Let me look at it," I said, keeping my voice even. My husband, Marcus, and I had run a small IT security firm for 20 years before we retired. Encryption was a language I spoke fluently. Liam looked relieved. He handed me the drive. "She said she tried Liam and Chloe, and her birthday. Nothing." I plugged the drive into my laptop. He was right. It wasn't a simple password. It was a biometric failsafe, but there was a common backdoor query, a security question. The prompt was, "Where do all fortunes begin?" I thought back, trying to remember any personal details I knew about her. I remembered a tacky, gold locket she wore when they first met. I had seen it up close once. It was engraved with 2 letters and a short phrase. I typed in Evelyn and Liam fortune. The drive clicked. A folder icon popped up on my screen. "You got it," Liam said, amazed. He leaned in, bracing himself, probably expecting to see a folder of scandalous, heartbreaking photos. But there was only one folder. It wasn't labeled photos or memories. It wasn't labeled Alex's lies. It was labeled simply, plans. Plans, Liam said, his voice confused. My blood ran cold. I clicked the folder. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The folder wasn't full of photos. It was a sea of files. Spreadsheets, bank account numbers from overseas banks, scanned legal documents, PDFs. Liam was staring, completely bewildered. "What is this?" he asked. "Is this business stuff from her old job?" I opened a file named phase_2.docs. It wasn't a business plan. It was a script. It had dialogue, had bullet points. Step 1. Introduce the betrayal at a public event, dinner party. Step 2. Manage L's emotions. Reinforce victim status. Step 3. Refuse to talk about it due to trauma. Push for security. L. Liam whispered, reading over my shoulder. "That's me. What is this, Mom? Some kind of therapy thing? A way for her to cope?" He was still trying to find an innocent explanation. He was still trying to see the woman he loved. "I don't think so, sweetheart," I said, my voice shaking as I clicked on another file. This one was titled, Ask Line. This was worse than I could have ever imagined. This wasn't just a lie. It was a full-blown operation. "Mom, look," Liam said, pointing to another folder inside Plans. It was labeled Comms. Opened it. It was filled with screenshots of text messages. The contact names were simple. C and A. My eyes scanned the text. A. "Are you sure this'll guy is the right mark? He seems smart." C. "He's not smart, he's nice. Big difference. He'll believe anything as long as I cry. We just need a good fall guy for the final payout." "This one is bigger than the last one." Liam gasped, stumbling back. She's planning to get a payout from me? And Alex is helping her. She's cheating on me with him." It was a horrible thought, but the truth was even colder. "No, Liam," I said, my hand trembling as I pointed to the date at the top of the screenshot. "Look at the date." He leaned in. His face went white. The text messages were from 2 years ago. A full year before he and Chloe had even met. L wasn't Liam. This was a previous victim. Alex wasn't her ex-husband. He was her partner. It all clicked into place, every piece of the ugly puzzle. Chloe and Alex were con artists. They worked as a team. He was the abusive or cheating ex, and she was the brave victim who had escaped. She would find a new, wealthy, kind man. She would marry him. Then, after a while, Alex would reappear, and they would stage a crisis. The cheating story she told at the dinner party. It wasn't about a past victim. That performance was for Liam. She was C. Alex was A. And my son, my kind, trusting son. He was the fall guy for this payout. I scrolled down and found a new text file, one dated just last week. A. The cheating story is set. You've got his sympathy. He's furious for you. Now you need to push for the joint account. Use the security angle. Say you're scared of being alone. C. He's eating it up. He's so full of righteous anger he can't see straight. He'll be begging me to take his money by Friday. This is too easy. I looked at Liam. He was staring at the screen, his face completely, utterly blank. He was in shock. The woman he had been comforting was a monster. Liam suddenly slammed the laptop shut. The sound echoed in the silent office. "No!" he yelled, his voice cracking. "No! I don't believe it." He stood up and started pacing the room, his hands pulling at his hair. "This is a setup. It has to be. Alex is framing her. He's the one who sent the drive, right? He's jealous. He's trying to break us up because she's happy with me." His voice was desperate. He was a drowning man, clinging to the smallest piece of wreckage. "She loves me, Mom. I know she does. This is sick. This is a twisted lie." I took a deep breath. Yelling back wouldn't work. He was in too deep. I calmly reopened the laptop. "Liam," I said, my voice firm. "If Alex was framing her, why would he include the texts from 2 years ago? The ones that prove they worked together to con someone else. Why would he include their new plan? This wasn't sent to us to find. This was left for her. Alex sent her a box of her things. This is her USB drive. These are her plans, Liam. She just got careless. He looked at me, his eyes wide with a terrible dawning horror. The denial was cracking. Look at this, I said, my voice hardening. I clicked on an email folder. It was a long thread between Chloe and a law firm in the Cayman Islands. It detailed the step-by-step creation of a shell corporation. The name of the corporation made me feel sick. It was LC Futures. LC Futures, I said quietly. Liam and Chloe. Chloe. I clicked on the last file in the folder. It was a transfer schedule. It was a meticulous step-by-step plan to move Liam's personal and business assets into this new, offshore account over the next 6 months. It started with a large sympathy transfer, dated for this coming Friday. The memo line was, for her security. Liam sank into his chair as if his legs had given out. He didn't speak. He just stared at the screen. He was watching his entire life, his entire marriage, dissolve into a cold, calculated business transaction. The woman he loved, the woman he had defended to me, the woman he was protecting. She was not a victim. She was the architect of his complete and total ruin. The fantasy was dead. We have all this, Liam finally said, his voice hollow. But it's digital. She'll say it's fake. She'll say Alex faked it all. She'll cry. And God, Mom, part of me will still want to believe her. He was right. She was a world-class performer. We had the script, but we didn't have the actress. We needed her. We needed to see her admitting it. I looked around the pristine office, so different from Liam's old, cluttered study. But then I remembered. I looked up at the bookshelf. Liam, I said, my voice quiet. What about that old nanny cam? The one you installed in here when your nephew was visiting last year. The one that looks like a book. Liam's head snapped up, his eyes widening. I think so. He walked over to the shelf and pulled out a thick copy of The Art of War. Tucked inside the fake pages was a tiny, dark lens. I never disconnected the hard drive, he whispered, his voice filling with a sudden, cold hope. It's in the closet. It records over itself every few weeks. It should still have the last few days. Let's check the footage from the night before the dinner party, I said. Liam pulled the small hard drive from the closet and plugged it into his computer. It was hours and hours of footage of an empty, silent room. Liam sat at the desk, his finger on the fast-forward button. Days blurred past in seconds. 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Stop, he yelled. He rewound. The timestamp on the video read 8:14 p.m., the night before the dinner party. The study door opened. Chloe walked in. She was not crying. She was not distressed. She was giddy. She was holding her phone to her ear, and she was followed by a man I didn't recognize, a man with dark hair and a sharp suit. That's him, Liam whispered, his voice shaking. That's Alex. Alex was holding a bottle of champagne. Chloe went to the bar in the corner and got 2 glasses. They sat on the small sofa, the one she had avoided during her performance. Alex handed her a piece of paper. He's signing the transfer for the new account tomorrow? Alex asked. Chloe took a sip of champagne and laughed. It was a high, trilling, awful laugh. Like a lamb to the slaughter, she said. They clinked glasses. To phase 1, Alex said, smiling at her. To phase 1, she repeated. We kept watching, frozen in horror. The camera kept rolling, its microphone picking up every word. They weren't just celebrating, they were rehearsing. Okay, so tomorrow at dinner, Chloe said, tapping her chin. I'll make sure Sarah is there. I'll break down by the entryway. It's the most public spot. And I'll, accidentally, text you something cruel right at 7, Alex said, scrolling on his own phone. Something like, "It's over, Chloe. I'm with her now, and she's so much better than you ever were." Ooh, perfect. Chloe clapped her hands. That's so good. It makes me the victim, and it makes him the hero when he comforts me. And I'll make sure his mother, Evelyn, sees. That old witch is too smart. I need her to look like the bad guy when she doesn't immediately believe me. Liam flinched, as if he'd been physically struck. Hearing his wife call me that. It was the final dagger. He'll be so busy protecting me from her. Chloe smirked into her champagne glass. He won't even see me emptying his accounts. He'll be relieved to give me the money, just to prove to her that he trusts me. Liam slammed his fist on the desk. The monitor rattled. That's it, he roared, his face a dark, terrifying red. That's it. I'm calling her. I'm kicking her out of my house. I'm calling the police right now. He grabbed his phone, his hands shaking with rage. No, I said, putting my hand over his. Stop. Think, Liam. Think like she does. He looked at me, his eyes wild. If you confront her now, she'll just run. She'll play the victim to the entire world. She'll say you and I faked this video. She'll drain whatever account she can access, and she'll be gone. This is a professional con artist. She has a phase 2. She has escape plans. He was breathing heavily, but he was listening. She thinks she's smarter than everyone, I said, my voice turning as cold as steel. She thinks you're a fool. So let's use that. She wants you to be the lamb. Fine. Be the lamb. But we're going to be the butchers. He looked at me, shocked by my coldness. But she had come after my son. The nice mom was gone. We need to set a trap, I said. And we need to make sure that when it snaps shut, she has nowhere left to run. The first thing we did was call my husband, Marcus. He was golfing, but he picked up on the second ring. Marcus, I said, no preamble. We need David. The shark. The one who handled the Intel merger. We need him at Liam's house. Now. An hour later, David, a man in a crisp dark suit that probably cost more than my car, was in Liam's study. He was the best fraud lawyer in the state. We didn't show him the video. Not yet. We just showed him the USB files. We showed him the asset insurance timeline. And the emails with the Cayman Islands law firm. David read everything. His face a perfect, emotionless mask. He finally looked up. This is textbook marriage fraud, he said. His voice clipped and precise. With this evidence, we can file for an annulment. It's cleaner than a divorce. It means the marriage never legally existed. Her claim on his assets drops to 0. He paused. But she'll fight it. She'll say these files were planted. She will destroy these files. You need irrefutable proof that she acted on this plan. You need to catch her in the act. Smiled. It was not a nice smile. Oh, we'll get it, I said. We just need to let her walk right into it. That night when Chloe came home, Liam played his part perfectly. I was in the guest room listening, my heart pounding. I heard her keys hit the bowl. Liam. Darling. In the living room, sweetheart, Liam called out. His voice was warm, steady. I heard him walk to her, and the sound of a kiss. I've been so worried about you, he said. Are you okay? I'm trying, she whispered, her voice thick with fake tears. I just feel so unsafe, so vulnerable. This was it. This was the moment from the script. I know, Liam said, his voice full of manufactured concern. And I've been thinking. With this awful Alex business. Feel so helpless. I want to protect you. I want to really combine our lives. I think we should merge all our finances. Immediately. Put everything into a new joint account. So you always feel secure. So you know I'm all in. There was a long pause. I held my breath. Oh, Liam. Chloe finally said, her voice breaking with emotion. Are you sure? That's so much. I couldn't ask. She was trying to sound hesitant. But I could practically hear her pupils dilate. The shark was smelling blood. I'm sure, Liam said, his voice firm. We're in this together. I'll have the bank draw up the papers. Liam was a better actor than I had ever known. He was playing the part of the devoted, slightly foolish husband to perfection. Few days later he was on the phone with me. He was in his study, and he knew Chloe was napping upstairs. He also knew she kept the old baby monitor, the one she used to use for her nephew, on her bedside table, and it was tuned to the study. She was listening to his every word. "Mom, you won't believe it," Liam said, his voice bubbling with fake excitement. "You know that piece of land Uncle Robert left me? The one out in the wine country. Just got rezoned for commercial development. The value? Mom, the value just went up by $10 million. He paused, letting it sink in. "But," he said, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, "the lawyer said to keep it quiet. We need to move it into a new holding company to avoid the massive tax hit. I'm not even telling Chloe until it's done. It'll be a surprise for our new beginning." He hung up. We waited. We had a tiny silent alert set up. 10 minutes later, Chloe's laptop in her office turned on. She was taking the bait. The 10 million number had made her greedy. She couldn't wait for Liam's new joint account. She was going to move now. Her greed was making her reckless. The $10 million secret asset was too much for her to resist. She had to accelerate her plan. She called the one person she thought she could trust, her best friend Sarah. We knew this because Liam, on David's advice, had put a tracker on her car. She drove to a small cafe downtown to meet Sarah. But Sarah was a weak link. She was only in this for a small payout. She had been texting Alex, and Alex was also getting cold feet. He had his own money from their previous cons. He didn't need this kind of heat. This had gotten too big too fast. That night I got an email from a brand new, anonymous Proton mail account. The message was short and terrified. "You don't know me. But you are right about Chloe. She is not who you think. She is planning to transfer all of Liam's money this Friday. She is throwing a surprise dinner party to celebrate your new unity. She is going to have Liam sign the new joint account papers in front of everyone. They are not for a joint account. They are transfer papers for her shell corporation. You have to stop her." 'Twas Sarah. She was terrified of Chloe, but she was more terrified of going to jail as an accomplice. The trap was set. Friday night arrived. The house was full again. The same scent of lilies and bleach filled the air. Chloe was glowing. She moved through the room, a glass of champagne in her hand, the perfect hostess. She was the brave victim who had overcome her pain and was fighting for her marriage. She kissed me on the cheek as I came in. "Evelyn," she gushed, "I'm so glad you're here to see this." After dinner, she stood up and clinked her glass. "I just want to thank you all for coming," she said, her eyes sparkling. "And most of all, I want to thank my wonderful, supportive husband, Liam. He has been my rock through this awful time." She smiled at him, a picture of adoration. "And to celebrate our new beginning, our new unity, we're signing the papers tonight to truly merge our lives. Aren't we, darling?" She pulled a thick stack of documents from a beautiful leather folder and slid them across the dinner table to Liam. "Just sign at the bottom, sweetheart." Liam looked at her. His eyes were calm, clear and cold. He didn't pick up the pen. Instead, he reached into his own jacket pocket and slid a different, much thinner set of papers right back at her. "I'm not signing those, Chloe," he said, his voice clear in the suddenly silent room. "But I need you to sign these." Chloe's smile froze. She looked at the papers. What is this, Liam? A joke? This isn't funny." She tried to laugh, but the sound came out as a strained squeak. "It's an annulment petition," Liam said, his voice carrying across the silent, stunned room. "Based on marriage fraud." The color drained from her face. And just like we knew she would, she immediately switched tactics. "Fraud!" she shrieked, bursting into tears. "Fraud! How dare you? After everything I have been through. Is this her doing?" She rounded on me, her finger pointing. "Ooh, you did this. You've been poisoning him against me since day one. No, Liam said, his voice like ice. He stood up and tapped the remote for the large-screen TV mounted on the wall. This wasn't my mother's doing. This was yours. He pressed play. The screen lit up, and the room was suddenly filled with the sound of Chloe and Alex, clinking champagne glasses in the study. Like a lamb to the slaughter, Chloe's voice echoed, high and clear. The guests gasped. Chloe stopped crying instantly. Her face, in one terrifying second, transformed from fake grief to pure white-hot rage. You! Chloe screamed at Liam, her voice a low, vicious snarl. She had dropped the performance entirely. You spied on me. You pathetic mama's boy. I'll ruin you. I'll tell everyone. Actually, a new voice said from the foyer, I think you're done ruining people. All heads turned. Alex walked into the room. He wasn't smirking. He looked tired, pale, and defeated. And he was flanked by 2 uniformed police officers and our lawyer, David. Chloe froze. She looked like a statue. Chloe, it's over, Alex said, his voice flat. He wouldn't even look at her. I've given the police a full confession. About, from 2 years ago. About the plan for Liam. About the Shell Corporation. About all of it. The game is up. Chloe looked from Alex to the police to Liam and then to me. Her eyes were like a cornered animal's. She knew there was no way out. There was no one left to lie to. She made a sudden lunge for the side door, but the officers were faster. They stepped in her way, and one put a firm hand on her arm. The entire $1 million room was silent. The only sound was the sharp, metallic click of handcuffs. The party ended in a stunned, horrified silence. The guests filed out one by one, their faces pale, whispering to each other. They shot horrified, disgusted looks at the empty space where Chloe had stood. Our lawyer, David, stayed behind with the police, handling the statements. When everyone was finally gone, Liam just stood in the middle of his living room. He looked around at the lilies, the champagne glasses, the perfect furniture. He looked at it all as if he was seeing it for the very first time. He looked broken but free. I walked up to him, my heart aching. I didn't say anything. I just stood in front of him. And for the first time since he was a little boy who had fallen off his bike, my son, my strong, grown-up son, just collapsed into my arms. He didn't cry. He just let out a long, shuddering breath, like he had been holding it for 2 years. It's over, Mom. He whispered into my shoulder. It's finally over. I held him tightly. I know, sweetheart, I said. I know. The smell of lilies in the room was suddenly sickening, too sweet. Let's open a window, I said. Let's get some fresh air. 6 months later, the house was sold. All its cold, fake luxury, all the memories of the lies were gone, sold to the highest bidder. Chloe had taken a plea deal. With Alex's and Sarah's full testimonies against her, she was facing real, serious consequences for fraud. The annulment was finalized in weeks. The marriage legally had never even happened. Liam is quieter now, but he's also stronger. He's wiser. He sold his flashy car. He moved into a smaller, warmer apartment closer to me and his father. He's focusing on his work, but more than that, he's focusing on himself. He's rebuilding. We have dinner every Sunday, just the 3 of us. Talk. We laugh. There are no performances, no hidden motives, no lies. The silence between us is no longer the sound of me being dismissed. It's the sound of trust, being rebuilt one honest conversation at a time. Chloe thought she could use my son's goodness and his kindness as a weakness. But she misunderstood. Goodness isn't weakness. It's just a different kind of strength. Walking away from a lie isn't failure. It's the first, most important step to finding the truth. They say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who hurt us the most. Have you ever had to choose between your own family and the truth? Let me know your story in the comments below.